This video, we'll be going over IRS Form 8879-EG. This is an eFile authorization for gift tax returns, either IRS Form 709 or IRS Form 709-NA for non-resident aliens. So let's go over this form as if we're preparing it to accompany our gift tax return for John Doe for 2024. So at the very top of the form, your tax software, if you're using it, will probably automatically enter the calendar year. Again, this is a calendar year tax return. John Doe is the donor, so we're going to enter his name, his taxpayer ID number at the very top of the form. Now this form contains 3 parts. It's pretty straightforward. Generally, your tax preparation software will accompany this. This is for people who are using a tax return preparer who's also considered an electronic return originator, or ERO. So there are 3 parts to this. The first part is basic information from the gift tax return. Part 2 is the declaration and signature authorization of the donor. And then part 3 is the certification and authentication. So this looks similar to the type of form that you might use for your regular income tax return. That would be IRS Form 8879. This is very similar. So in part 1, we're going to carry over some information about the tax bill from the tax return. So if you're filing Form 709, which is the regular gift tax return, you would enter the total tax from Part 2, line 17. And let's just say that for this instance, it's $10,000. Then you would leave line 2 alone and go to Part 2. Conversely, if this is accompanying IRS Form 709-NA, then you would put that figure down here, and that's the figure that comes from line 12 in Part 2 instead of line 17. So you're only going to complete one of these lines, not both of them. Pretty straightforward. Usually it's automated by your tax software. So in part 2, this is the donor declaration and signature authorization. So this would actually be kept in your files with your gift tax return. You wouldn't send this to the IRS, but it's your PIN number that you can either authorize your accountant or ERO, so your accountant, the person or office that's generating your tax return and submitting it to the IRS. You can either authorize them to enter your PIN, or you can enter your own PIN as your own signature on that electronic gift tax return. And either way, you'll sign and date the bottom of this. So in this case, John Doe has authorized his accountant to enter his PIN. And then in part 3, you simply have the ERO's electronic filing ID number, or EFIN, followed by your PIN. So in this case, we've put in Jones & Associates EFIN, which is the first 6 digits here, and then the last 5 digits are John Doe's PIN number. And then he would sign and date this. They need to keep this form for audit purposes, but it's not submitted to the IRS unless the IRS is requesting to do this. Now, why would you file Form 8879-EG? This is simply documentation that allows your return preparer to file the gift tax return. So if you're filing it manually, like a paper copy, and mailing it, you won't see this form. If you're doing this by yourself, you won't see this form. This is only to allow a couple of things to happen, and it's all stated in part 2, although it's not very clear. You have to actually kind of read into it. So first, you're making a declaration that it is accurate, true, complete, and correct to the best of your knowledge. This is under penalties of perjury. So in other words, you can be held responsible for any omissions, any fraud or accuracy, like significant accuracy errors. So this does acknowledge that. The second thing that it does is it allows it gives permission for your tax return originator, your ERO, the transmitter, or the intermediate service provider to send your return to the IRS and then receive certain information from the IRS, either an acknowledgement of the receipt or a reason that it was rejected, then any delay in processing the actual tax return, and then the date of any refund. So this allows the IRS to send your tax preparer information that you may want to know about your refund. But it's not going to go into detail. It's simply going to authorize those pieces of information. And to be certain, this is for every entity that's involved in the electronic transmission of your tax return. So not just your accountant, but if your accountant uses tax software, it allows that tax software company to manage that. It also, if you're using H&R Block, for example, and they use a different software, it covers the bases so that from the time it's transmitted to the time that it goes to the IRS, everyone that handles that in the process of managing your tax return, they're covered by this document. And then finally, if it applies, you're also authorizing the U.S. Treasury to create an electronic funds withdrawal or a direct debit of any bank information that you put into the tax software for taxes that are owed. So basically, by doing this, John Doe is allowing the IRS to request his bank to transfer $10,000 from the bank account to the IRS. Now, you can revoke that payment, but you have to call the U.S. Treasury no later than 2 business days prior to the payment date. And then it also allows your financial institution to receive confidential information to make sure that the payment is going to the correct account. So there may be some personal information that your bank won't give up without this document being signed or accompanying the tax return. So all of these things are being authorized in your Form 8879, EG in this case. So it's pretty simple, it's basic, it's straightforward. You can find some more instructions on the back of this form if you need to dive into details. We also cover the step-by-step instructions in our article. You can check it out on teachmepersonalfinance.com. Type in IRS Form 8879-EG and the article will pop right up. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see a video on, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.